In this video, I'm gonna knock out 10 more kitchen design myths. Number 1, bigger kitchens are always better. A bigger kitchen isn't intrinsically better than a smaller one. It's whether or not it meets the functionality and storage requirements for the homeowner. I've heard people say that they wish they had a bigger kitchen, when in reality, it's that they're just very unorganized and they got stuff everywhere. So a bigger kitchen isn't going to solve their problem. Having a larger kitchen isn't going to solve the functionality problems that you think you have or the storage solutions that you think you need. It's utilizing the space that you do have to be the most optimal that it can be. That's the real key. Whether it's a small kitchen or a big kitchen, use the space that you have to the fullest to get the best function out of your kitchen. Busted! Number 2, the sink has to always be under the window. In many North American homes, this has been the predominant trend. I'm not sure about other parts in the world. Let me know in the comments below if having a sink under a window is kind of the norm. But in North America, at least, the sink normally goes under a window. Having a window to look out of while you're doing your dishes is nice. It's not necessarily the only place or the best place for a kitchen sink. Sinks can be anywhere in your kitchen. My suggestion is that wherever you place your sink, that you at least have counter space on either side so that you have a landing area for items. It is suggested that you have at least 24 inches on one side and 18 inches on the other in order to have a functional sink space. So having a sink on an end of a run next to a wall or just next to nothing is not highly recommended unless you just don't have any other option. And what about a sink in an island? Same thing applies. As long as you have counter space on either side of that sink, my suggestion is to have counter space behind that sink in case there's splashes and spills. Then yeah, go for it. Put your sink in the island. It looks great. It's a great feature. Then there is the corner sink. What do I do about that? Corner sinks are great. Plumbing is a great way to utilize the space underneath a corner. But my suggestion for a corner sink is make sure you don't have laminate countertops. That'd be my only thing I would say stay clear of if you're gonna have a sink in the corner. If you have one-piece quartz or granite or some kind of acrylic, then go for it. But if you're using laminate countertops, I highly recommend not going with a sink in the corner because there is gonna be a seam, and no matter how well you seal that seam on a laminate countertop, water is very powerful and it will eventually penetrate that seam and cause problems. So I would say steer away from that, but otherwise, go for it. Busted! Number 3. Over-the-range microwaves are so convenient. I've heard from viewers in places like Australia that the over-the-range microwave isn't even a thing. And to that I say, I've always liked Australia. I have no idea who came up with this, why they thought this would be a great idea. I have other videos where I go in depth about why I think it's a bad idea. You can check out those other videos. I'll link in the description below. Think about it for a minute. Reaching up over your stove to grab something out of your microwave is just a very dangerous idea. Think about a smaller kid or someone in your family who is not 6 foot tall and they're trying to reach something out of that microwave. It is a very dangerous place to put a microwave in my opinion, and people vent them into themselves so they're just circulating air back into the room. This isn't the proper use of ventilation. It's not the best place for a microwave. I would rather just see a microwave on a countertop and just use a proper ventilation hood system than to combine these two appliances. So OTR microwaves are definitely more dangerous, more of an eyesore, probably not any more convenient than just having it right on your countertop. Busted! Number 4, you can't live without a corner cabinet. You can and you must. Corner cabinets offer a lot of storage, and with the proper accessory, they can be a well-utilized space in any kitchen. However, they are definitely not necessary to have a fully functional kitchen, and I think they're highly overrated. And if you're shocked by me saying that, it's because you're new to my content and you haven't heard me say it before, but I say it a lot in other videos. I don't like the corner cabinet. I get a lot of flack for that, by the way. I've heard some better uses for the corner cabinet. Some of my viewers said that they take their Christmas ornaments in a tote, stick them in there, and they only have to go there once a year. I thought that was brilliant. Someone else said they installed their water tank in that location. I think that's great. Putting things in the corner that you don't need to access all the time is a great use of that space. Now, of course, you can get very functional Lazy Susans, and I know you can get great appliances that spin around and are just perfect and you never have an issue with it. I know, but the less time fumbling around in a deep corner base, the better, in my opinion. So while it is a valuable space, trust me, you can live without it. Busted! Number 5, RTA cabinets are cheap. Less expensive maybe, but certainly not cheap. I've dealt and seen many custom manufacturers use particle board gables, have MDF center panels in their doors, and use less than quality hardware. And I've seen many RTA companies who use plywood gables, have solid wood doors, and use great hardware like Bloom. So just by saying that something is custom and something is not, does not mean that something is cheap and something is not cheap. You pay less for RTA cabinets because one, they're flat packed and you install them yourself. And yes, they are made in quantities that allow them to do that. They're not customizable by nature because you can't get the different sizes that you might need in a custom kitchen. But just by saying something is ready to assemble does not mean that it is cheap. It just means that, yeah, you're paying less for it and you're probably going to install it yourself maybe. And if your budget only allows you to have an RTA quality kitchen, don't fret about it. RTA quality kitchens are great. They're used in many homes. You see them on many shows that are on the Home and Garden Network and shows like that. They use RTA cabinets in a lot of different installations. I'll link to a specific video in the description below that helps you decide whether or not an RTA cabinet is good quality or bad quality. Busted! Number 6, installing a kitchen is easy. Do you know the difference between square, plumb, and level? If the answer is no, put down that sledgehammer, back away from your kitchen, and call a professional. Installing a kitchen is a very detailed process. It's not just slapping cabinets on a wall and calling it a day. If you're trying to save money on your kitchen, this is not the place to do it. I highly recommend calling professional installers to do this part of the job. I'm not saying it's brain surgery. You can learn how to install a kitchen. But if you have zero experience in carpentry or any kind of finish work, this is not the place to start. You want to call a professional so that you don't end up making a complete mess of your new kitchen. Busted! Number 7, granite. Too hard to take care of. The popularity of granite is waning for sure in the industry. Fabricated stone like quartz has definitely taken over this market. However, granite is not hard to take care of. Most granite slabs these days are pre-sealed from the factory, giving you a stain guard warranty for a number of years that you probably don't even ever have to worry about it. If your granite is not sealed from the factory and you have to do it, it's a process that doesn't take very long. You only have to do it a few times a year. Spray, wipe, you're done. You clean granite countertops the same as you'd clean any surface, just mild detergent, and you wipe it up, away you go. So if you're interested in a natural stone, you love the look of that natural, beautiful, high gloss finish that you get with granite, then definitely go for it. It's definitely worth it, and you don't have to do a lot of work to take care of it. Busted! Number 8, designers set all the trends. Designers suggest trends. Consumers like you are the ones who make them popular. Okay, unless your last name is Gaines, maybe you have an edge on the rest of us. But for the most part, it is the consumer that accepts the trends that are put forth by designers. The designer's part is to bring new ideas to the table, challenge the norms, and put forth creativity in inspiring ways. And big kitchen shows like Eurokitchena in Italy are the real trendsetters when it comes to what manufacturers look for in what's going to be popular in the next few years. Shows like this help manufacturers decide what to market to consumers so that those things can become trends. While I do think designers have a major role in deciding what gets put forth as what the trends are going to be, it's really down to you and me for deciding, hey, do we like that or do we not like that? They have data that shows these things. For instance, we talk about white kitchens, and people just either love them or hate them, but the data shows they are continually being popular every single year, miles above every other type of kitchen color. If you look at the market and where the money's being spent, it's being spent on white kitchens. Busted! Number 9, you gotta follow a lot of building codes when you're installing a kitchen. There's actually very little building codes that have anything to do with installing a kitchen. Unless you're talking about electrical and ventilation, building codes are basically silent. Now, there are a lot of guidelines that we have to determine what should go where and how much space we need and how much clearance we have and those types of things. But they're not law and they're not required. If you're interested in what those guidelines are, I have a link in the description below to the NKBA's guideline book. It's just a big list of all the different guidelines and all the different measurements and all the different heights and all the different this and that go into designing a kitchen. But the only things required by law through a building code normally are just electrical, ventilation, where these things are, the types that they have to be, how much air has to move, etc. Kitchen design is a lot about common sense. Using common sense, we've come up with these guidelines and the applicable laws designed to keep you safe in your kitchen. Busted! And coming in at number 10, open shelves are the worst trend ever. This video says it all. If you're interested on what the worst kitchen design trend is of all time, check it out. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing to my content if you enjoy it. Bye.
Credits.